Two men sat down at the same table, picked up the same pen and signed the same check after spending 20 years attempting to destroy each other on every tennis court in the world. $50 million. Not in a stadium. Not for a competition. Not for a legacy project with their names on the wall, a charity foundation, or a brand campaign. For a Filipino girl, 20 years of age. Alex Eala is her name. If you're unfamiliar with that moniker, you're about to realize why practically nothing else is being discussed in the tennis world. Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Together, these two men, two billionaires and legends, have amassed business empires that most corporations would be jealous of and won 34 Grand Slams. They stared at the same object and thought the same thing for the first time in their post-playing lives. It's this one. You will comprehend why they did it, how it occurred, and the implications for Alex, the Philippines, and the future of women's tennis in general by the end of this film. Hold on to me because this tale, it begins well in advance of Miami. Imagine a 12-year-old coming to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. She brought 2 rackets, her brother Michael, and a fantasy so big that most people would have laughed if she had said it aloud. Her goal was to win Grand Slams. She aspired to be the world's greatest. Additionally, she was from a nation that has never produced a player in the top 100 worldwide in the history of professional tennis. That didn't make her feel ashamed. She simply trimmed. Alexandra Eala was her name. Additionally, the coaches at that academy were able to recognize something in her from the start that is not captured by statistics. It wasn't simply the competitive spirit, the ball striking, or the footwork. It was the way she dealt with stress. As if she had paid nothing for it. Early on, junior titles began to appear. At 14, the Australian Open Junior Doubles. The following year, Roland Garros Junior Doubles. Then, at the age of 17, she entered the U.S. Open Girls Championship in 2022 and accomplished something that no Filipino had ever done before she won. Championship for singles. Straight sets. The first Filipino to ever win a Junior Grand Slam singles championship. The tennis community made a brief note and pencil-circled her name. Junior tennis, however, is another universe. The WTA Tour is a very different experience. After becoming a professional, Alex fulfilled a prerequisite that all serious athletes must fulfill in order to play on major stages. She lost consciousness. The ITF circuit consists of tough and unglamorous tiny tournaments in unheard-of cities, early morning flights, prize money that hardly covers hotel expenses, and weeks spent apart from your loved ones. It is the place where brilliance either quietly fades away or is developed into something genuine. Alex did not vanish. Her maiden ITF title came in January 2021, followed by another in Thailand. The wins gathered methodically, brick by brick, match by match, just like a genuine foundation is constructed. She was ranked 143rd in the world at the beginning of 2025. Solid. Promising. Not yet a name that garnered attention outside of the Philippines, where she was already regarded as a national hero. Since she was 8 years old, Globe Telecom had faith in her. Before she held a single professional title, Borbolet held a racket. Before the world realized what it was witnessing, Nike clad her in their brand. These were devoted alliances. Actual ones. However, nobody had really grasped what they were looking at in the global commercial discourse. That was about to change. In the most noticeable, dramatic, and public manner imaginable. In Miami, things were going to alter. This is what it means to be a 143rd ranked wildcard in a WTA 1000 tournament. It indicates that you shouldn't be there. Grand Slam winners and women who have spent years in the top 20 make up a large portion of the draw. It indicates that you are there to make someone else's first match comfortable. On paper, you lose in the first round. If the bracket is favorable, you might lose in the second. You're a filler. You are the background. Alex Eala did not receive that memo. Yelena Ostapenko won the first round. Former winner of the French Open. A forehand capable of removing paint from the baseline. Absent. Madison Keys, second round. Current champion of the Australian Open. World's top 5. She was playing some of her best tennis to date. Absent. Straight sets. The world of tennis became a buzz instead of a whisper. This girl, who is she? The match that provided a universal response to that query then appeared. 5 Grand Slam victories, ranked second in the world. The most dominant player in the current period on the WTA Tour. On the other side of the internet is Iga Swiatek. She was also beaten by Alex. Straight sets. Clinical. Composed. On a major hard court, a 20-year-old wild card rated 140th in the world defeated the world's top player as if she had always belonged there. Since she had. Someone inquired about her feelings during the news conference that followed. "My level is there," she remarked, glancing at the reporter with a smile that comes only after years of silent preparation. "However, I still have a lot of work to do." That phrase. That piece. That refusal to let the magnitude of the situation overwhelm you. The globe paused, turned, and gave it a serious look at that moment. Ella Alexandra. In just 1 week, her ranking went from 143 to 75. The first Filipino in the WTA Top 100 history. 3 Grand Slam winners were eliminated in straight sets at a single WTA event by the first wildcard in history. Overnight, her social media following surpassed 350,000. Not only did the Filipino media report on it, but they also celebrated it in the same manner as other nations do with gold medals. Additionally, in Mallorca and Zurich, too. The phones were ringing. To comprehend why this agreement occurred, you must know what kind of men Federer and Nadal are now, not as players but as businessmen. In September 2022, Roger Federer announced his retirement. He hasn't slowed down since. He's made worse. He bought a 3% share in a Swiss running shoe manufacturer. On, which was acquired for only $50 million in 2019 when the firm was worth $2 billion, is now valued at $500 million as its market capitalization has surpassed $19 billion. He has a $300 million contract with Uniqlo. In August 2025, Forbes verified that he was the first retired athlete outside of the United States to reach the billion-dollar milestone through their sports platform, citing ongoing collaborations with Rolex, Mercedes-Benz, and Lindt. He didn't just happen to be there. Federer has grasped a concept that most athletes took a long time to grasp. A trophy is not the most valuable item an athlete possesses. It's a tale. It's a personality. It's the emotion they evoke in viewers. He was aware of something about himself and about running. As he watched Miami from his Swiss house, he realized what Alex Eala was all about. Nadal's narrative is similar in conclusion but differs in specifics. After making his final Davis Cup appearance for Spain, he retired in November 2024. The Rafa Nadal Academy, which is now a worldwide institution with campuses in Mallorca, Cancun, Greece, Kuwait, and Hong Kong, a hotel brand, upscale real estate, media production, and a share in the tennis app Playtomic are all part of his economic empire. He made €94 million when he sold a sizable portion of his academy to private equity in 2023. In just 1 year, the worth of his family's holding firm increased by 44%. However, Nadal has discussed legacy more than money. At a presentation for young players at the academy in June 2024, he sat next to Federer and delivered a speech that now seems prophetic. He claimed that they both understood that records are eventually broken and that the athlete's humanity, character, principles, and example would always endure. On his courts, Alex Eala had received training. He had seen her mature. He was aware of her strategy. He was familiar with her personality. He didn't have to be persuaded that she was distinct. He was already aware. Thus, Miami took place. The remainder of 2025 followed. In June, Alex advanced to her maiden WTA Tour final at Eastbourne, a grass court event that is meant to favor large servers rather than petite Filipino ladies. Still, she advanced to the final. She faced Clara Tauson in the opening round of the US Open, her first Grand Slam main event. 5-1 in the third set after 3 sets. The game is almost ended. Then, after 2 hours and 36 minutes of tennis that left the Queen's audience in complete shock, she recovered point by point, game by game, and triumphed 7-6 in the third set tiebreak, 11 points to 9. A Filipino player's first Grand Slam main draw victory in the Open era. Then, in Guadalajara, she won her first WTA 125 championship. The first Filipino to achieve such success. After beginning the year at 143rd, she finished 2025 at 50th in the world. A rise to 93th rank in just 1 year. and 2026 picked off where it left off. She advanced to the fourth round of a WTA 1000 event at Indian Wells, where she defeated Diana Schneider in a match that held spectators in their seats past midnight in the chilly California weather. 2 hours and 43 minutes. Alex Eala is currently ranked 29th in the world as of this week, March 2026. The Filipino with the highest ranking in WTA Tour history. Before turning 21, she made it into the top 30. Speaking at a tennis event in London, Sky Sports broadcaster Gigi Salmon made it clear, and the room fell silent. She may already be the biggest star in terms of her popularity and the audiences that follow her. Not the biggest up-and-coming star. The largest star. What would you think if you were Roger Federer sitting in Zurich and had a history of understanding when to make a move before the market caught up? And how would you feel if you were Rafael Nadal, the man who witnessed this girl's first strokes on your clay courts 12 years ago? You know her inside and out. They were experiencing the same emotion. And they made the decision to take joint action. It's important to be specific since here is where folks become confused. This isn't a sponsorship agreement. Alex is not being paid by Federer to wear his emblem. Nadal's uniform does not bear the name of the academy. These arrangements already exist in various forms. According to discussions taking place in the tennis industry, Federer and Nadal have made direct commercial investments in Alex Eala. Entity. Consider Federer's investment in running. As a shareholder with a stake in the result, not as a spokesperson or a face on a billboard. The $50 million is divided across several sources, including media rights, content production, endorsement strategy, brand licensing, and, most importantly, market growth into Southeast Asia. There are more than 110 million people in the Philippines alone. There are hundreds of millions of people in Southeast Asia who have been interested in Alex's narrative. Both Federers are part of one of the world's fastest-growing sports consumption markets. Nadal's commercial operation and management firm Team 8 have determined that it is just that. Additionally, there is something that cannot be produced with any amount of money. Alex attended the Rafa Nadal Academy as a child. She is a product of that institution in the purest meaning of the word. It is more than a transaction for Nadal to invest in her brand. As the most well-known alumnus of the academy, it is a continuation of his own tale and serves as a live example of everything it was intended to produce. Federer has been adhering to this ideology since 2019. Get in before everyone else does. Look for someone whose character is unquestionable, whose attraction transcends all cultural boundaries, and whose tale is authentic. He worked at a shoe company. He's doing it with a human now. What does this entail for Alex personally? It indicates that the two best representatives tennis has ever had looked at her and said, "We believe in you." Not for a season. Not in support of a campaign. For the lengthy trajectory of a career that hasn't really begun yet. She claims that since she was 12, her dreams have been the same. Her goal is to win Grand Slams. She aspires to be the best. And those who know her best, from the trainers in Mallorca to those who witnessed her persevere through years of ITF competitions before anybody recognized her name, say that it's more than simply her skill that sets her apart. It's the timeline plus the talent. She is 20 years old. In the world, she is rated 29th. She defeated Swiatek, Ostapenko, and Keys. In barely over a year, she has moved up 114 spots in the rankings. She has never performed at this level for an entire season. To be honest, she's just getting started. Alex Eala was ranked 143rd in the world at the start of 2025. She is ranked 29th going into the spring of 2026, the highest position any Filipino athlete has ever reached in WTA tennis history. As a wild card, she defeated 3 Grand Slam champions, won her first championship, qualified for her first Grand Slam main draw, and advanced to her first WTA final. The two greatest players in men's tennis history have now jointly pledged $50 million to her future, marking the biggest off-court development for women's tennis in years. It's not a fairy tale. Nor does it feel like one. It resembles a blueprint. It seems to be the result of talent meeting preparation meeting opportunity, and opportunity finding two men who have spent their whole careers knowing exactly what a true champion looks like. We will be present for every chapter of Alex Eala's story, which is just getting started. Subscribe today if this video surprised, moved, or inspired you in any way. we discuss the key moments in women's tennis. The rivals. The innovations. The behind-the-scenes transactions. The real story behind the headlines. Click subscribe. Activate the bell. In the next one, we'll see you.